Hi, my name is Julia Kirby, and I'm sitting here in Victoria Mansion's Grand Parlor. Today, the mansion stands as one of the most important historic house museums anywhere in the nation. It was built in 1858-1860 for a gentleman named Ruggles Sylvester Morse. Ruggles Morse was from the state of Maine. He was native to Leeds, Maine, but at a very young age he became interested in the hotel industry. He went to New York and Boston and finally down to New Orleans, Louisiana, where he made a fortune as a luxury hotelier. Morse chose Maine obviously because it was his home state, but also because the mansion functioned as his summer house for he and his wife Olive. It was a wonderful spot right on the seacoast to enjoy the summer holiday. The house was designed by Henry Austin, an architect from New Haven, Connecticut, and the interiors were done by Gustav Herder. It retains over 90% of the original Herder furnishings, and it stands as the only extant collection of Herder furniture. The house is made of brownstone, a material that came from a quarry in Portland, Connecticut. The house is an Italianate or Italian villa. It was an ideal structure for a summer house. Italian villas were often in the countryside. There are rich carvings on the building. There are beautiful coins or vermiculated designs up the edges of the buildings, wonderful brackets and moldings that really define the Italianate style. In 1894, Mr. and Mrs. Joseph R. Libby bought the house and the original collections, and they lived here with their 5 children. In the 1930s, specifically after a hurricane destroyed the great skylight in the house, the wonderful stained glass skylight, which is filled with personifications of the seasons, little angel figures that represent spring, summer, fall, and winter. The house was slated for demolition. A gentleman named William Holmes rescued the house, and he wanted to open it up as a tourist destination, recognizing how fantastic the house was. The tour consists of the first and second floor. There's a grand reception room, the room that the Morses or the Libbys would have formerly received guests into, a grand dining room that has its original porcelain, silver, and glassware, and each piece is monogrammed with an M for Morse. What's so wonderful, and this is why we really consider the Libbys our first preservationists, is because they kept all of this porcelain with the M on it, and so we still have it today for our visitors to enjoy. Then the tour continues on to the Gothic Revival Library, which has its original table, 2 side chairs, and armchair that have wonderful Gothic detailing with pointed arches and trefoil designs. The tour continues into the parlor, the grand room that we're sitting in now, and the theme of this room is one of love and romance. And to that end, if you look at the sofa or the table legs, you'll see mythological figures, cherubs and putti, and even a wonderful scene that plays out on the ceiling of Homer's Iliad. It depicts Venus and Juno. Venus is giving Juno a magical girdle or sash, and Juno is going to use this to distract her husband Jupiter from the Trojan War. So you see these 2 scenes playing out on the ceiling. There's a wonderful use of trompe-l'oeil in the house, and that's French for fool the eye. And they use this trompe-l'oeil in 2 different ways. They use it to simulate 3D effect, to make things look 3-dimensional than in fact are just flat. But even more spectacular is the way the trompe-l'oeil is used to mimic different materials. So when folks look up at the dining room ceiling and think, oh my heavens, that's gorgeous wood, it's always kind of fun to tell them it's painted plaster. The house, again, stands as such an important site because not only do we have the original Herder furniture, but really the house has its original feeling and overall sense because there are 2 original carpets, original gas fixtures, the paintwork, the glass, the silver, the stained glass, all is still here. So when visitors come in, and we have visitors from little kids who come on our school tours all the way to our adult programs and adult group tours, get to tour the house and really see what an interior from 1860 looked like. So this is a pre-Civil War house with all of its original furnishings, And it's a true experience for people to see what it was like. Portland had devastating fires in the 1800s, and we are so fortunate that the mansion still stands today and has its original interiors so that we can share it with visitors.